I don't have any knowledge on the Blue Beam project, but just to give the listeners an idea of there's another world going on behind the curtain, so to speak, of the black projects that's so far beyond it's almost as though we're living in a world of props, and there's this other world that's in the science fiction. When I was, a kid in the 50s, I was looking at, the science fiction movies, Day There Stood Still and Forbidden Planet and all these things. And wow, and at the same time, while I was a little kid doing this, they were actually, having contact with the extraterrestrials and dealing with this technology. And as the head of Lockheed Skunk Works, Ben Rich, said, before he died, that anything you can imagine, we've already done, and that we've had the technology to go to the stars and beyond. Anything you can imagine. So think of teleportation. Think of just about anything you see in Star Trek. The technology is mind-boggling that's hidden away on these black projects that, bring in, billions of dollars in these black project budgets.
Wow. Now, we've spoken quite a bit about your call for openness and disclosure in this area. With the change of administrations, where do you see your cause going over the course of the Obama administration, which potentially could be 8 years? Where do you see this cause being in 2012 or 2016?
Oh, great way to I guess we're getting near the end of the show, and this is a good...
Well, we still have the after-hour orgy if you choose to hang around. Or you take questions from callers. Yeah. But yeah, that's exactly. Where do you see it going forward?
I believe that all of us are, all humans on this earth are that you've heard of the 100th monkey or the morphogenic field theory and things like that. I believe that a lot of people have, you could see it in their faces when Obama got elected. A lot of people, whether it's true or not, I choose to believe, it's true that there is a new hope for a new change, and that things are going to be disclosed, things are going to come out in the open, and I'm sure they can't just come out too quickly. They have to kind of spoon feed it out to the public. It would be too much of a shock to know everything, all the secrets that have been withheld. But I would, again, recommend everybody listening that wants to just flex their muscle of their voice, to say something, is to personalize, put an online letter. It's free on the disclosureproject.org, and write Obama and tell him how you feel about this, and find out for yourself this is real, based on these hundreds of...
He did promise an open government, so we might as well hold him to his promises, right?
Yeah. You remember, like in the movie V, everybody came forward, and they just, everybody just came forward. I'd love to see something like that happen to the facts, and you just get barraged in Washington saying, you have hundreds of these witnesses. If you had 10 people that are willing to testify under oath, you'd have a case, right? Well, we have over 500, and these are admirals, astronauts, generals, people high credibility that have nothing to gain and much to lose by coming forward. And it's either the greatest hoax in history that's been collaborated, and these people don't even know each other, most of them, and they have total collaborating witness testimonies that substantiate what they're saying.
Wow. Well, I'm glad you have hope for this new chairman of USSA Inc. But I guess we can hold him to his promise. And I'm looking forward to it because it does mean a lot of things. This advanced technology is out there. One way or another. We've been using it for decades. It's funny because people, when they follow the mainstream, they hear, oh, this was just invented. And, I'm sure as you've testified and with your experience, that these so-called new inventions have already been there for decades.
Absolutely.
So, it is obviously about, their financial interests that, I mean, I believe, that's my opinion, why they won't disclose this to the general public. And, then, of course, if you talk about it, then say, oh, you watch too many movies. You must need a pill.
Right.
But, I know I have friends, that have actually disclosed this topic and many others, and there is no doubt they are trying to kill these people. And we know that many have been, exterminated or erased in the past. And it was, I listened to all of those testimonies and all of the other recordings you have on your site, and I'm just blown away that the people still don't know about this. I don't know. I'm going to, hopefully everyone here, tell them the site to go to and sign the letters and get more interest involved. And we have to put the pressure on, right?
Oh, absolutely. Each one of us has a choice. I think a lot of people are burned out of being depressed about, the Bush administration in bed with the oil companies and the corruption. I mean, just blatant, out front, and now there's a new president with a promise of change and a hope that many people are seeing. And we each have a choice of, he's supposed to be another puppet for the secret government. But if all of us are feeling a hopeful feeling, I have a feeling that, the more people that, educate themselves on the subject, hold the feet to the fire, hold our representatives accountable. Don't let up. Don't let go. Fax your representatives and Obama and, say, hey, this is real. And I want to see a congressional hearing on this. And, we have to hold their feet to the fire and say,
absolutely.
Because disclosure is more powerful than secrecy.
Absolutely. Dan, in the last few seconds before we head into the after hour orgy where the callers will pose their questions to you, a lot of people on the internet theorize that all of this reverse engineered alien technology being used by the government in conjunction with the Blue Beam Project will be used to usher in world government by way of promoting a world leader by the name of Maitreya. I mean, it sounds really far out, and I don't necessarily subscribe to this myself. Do you believe that such an occurrence would be plausible and possible?
I have no information on that. I'm just one of 500 military witnesses trying to disclose, secret government operations that have been hidden and lied to the public for, over 50 years. And I really don't have anything. I don't want to speak of anything. I have my own, speculations and theories.
It's extensively written about. I just think, not that I'm, necessarily a subscriber to that, but there are a lot of people who believe that and about this Maitreya who is going to be world leader. But anyway, we're at the top of the hour. We're going to roll.
Yeah, I had a question first before we go to callers. I don't want to take too much time, but I did want to know how your superiors or your community have accepted you, and if you have suffered any backlash for your disclosure.
Some of the witnesses have been threatened, and even Dr. Greer had his life threatened not to go to the press club. Little old me at the last second, I volunteered, and no one has threatened me as yet. I've been on over a dozen radio shows on CNN, CBS, and I feel that the people that are in these projects in the military, they're in these compartmented operations. I believe a lot of them know that we need to change the course that we're on, and they can't do it. They're trapped. They're basically they can't come out and say these things exist without severe repercussions. So it's basically left up to a civilian effort for people to become aware that this is real and to hold our government accountable to this, or else it's just going to continue to perpetuate year after year after year in the direction that it's been going. And so now is the time with this new administration for people to say, yeah, I'm ready for change. I'm ready for big change, you know. And we're talking about
so you
a
haven't
new world.
personally been threatened or suffered any of these things we know that other witnesses have?
No, I have not.
Good. Well, that's good news. Okay. Well, with that, let's go to callers.